The Junglies takes on the league leaders at Jocks All. Football finally returns to the railway, and the Reggae Boys will take on the Soccer Warriors once again. All this and more on this Match with 18 preview show. Yes, people, welcome back to Jamaica Fan. We have a big weekend of JPL action ahead of us. So we start with the much anticipated Jungle versus Bush. More Pleasant versus Arnett. More Pleasant were finally tested in their last match against Racing after spending weeks in cruise control. Sure, they caused the trouble themselves, but that's how impervious their form has been that they had to create the challenge for themselves. Tapper should especially be pleased that he got the result without Bailey and Green, and I assume they'll be back for this game. Tapper also finally have a plan B option in the form of big striker Siobhan Walsh, who joined during the week from Portmore. The only thing remain is who to fill the void at left back due to Irving's suspension. Most likely Captain McCullough will slot back there, or Tapper could be bold and could play Bailey at left back and go out on an all-out attack. Arnett, on the other hand, had to scrap and fight in the last couple of weeks, which should bode well for them going forward. Their defense is such a night and day compared to last season after only allowing 9 goals in 17 matches so far this season. I was rather impressed with Jamon Shepherd at right back against a very good Moby attack, and I expect him there again this weekend as Gilbert may opt for Nelson again in midfield to provide a little steal in the middle of the park. Now, as for the head-to-head record, More Pleasant avoided defeat in their last 3 matches, including a 1-1 draw back in October. This clash should not be missed when More Pleasant hosts Arnett Gardens at Jocks Hall this Sunday. Humber Lion versus Chapan Maroon. The Lion let crucial 3 points slip from their fingers in match week 17 and will look to make amends in front of their own fans this Sunday. They have done some good business in the transfer market so far, but as the league's lowest goal scorers, they still need a lethal number 9 despite the recent arrival of Stevie Barnett, in my opinion. In the meanwhile, Andre Clennon looked good off the bench against Harbour View, but I suspect Coach Duki will stick with Dr. Thomas after he scored last week. Their opponent Chapan is much better going forward, but will likely feel they'll also let 3 points slip away in their encounter with Malines. Again, they just have to find a plan B for when Demari Deacon is not having his best game to truly move up the table and away from relegation. They will enter this game as favourites since the Humber Lion are winless in 10 games and will look to mirror the reverse fixture when they won 2-0. It should be another good Clarendon derby when Humber Lion hosts Chapan Maroons this Sunday. Portmore United versus Harbour View. Of course, if Humber Lion finds a victory this week, then Harbour View will hope they do the same to avoid becoming the new basement dwellers. A 9-game winless run have the longtime fans already fearing the worst, but Harbour View management are working hard to improve the squad this window. Newcomer Timar Lewis looks to be the best of the bunch as he finally brings a bit of unpredictability to their attack, but unfortunately, he seems to be moving twice as fast as his teammates. We see majority of the attacking play breaking down. Maybe an extra week on the training pitch may breed favorable results just in time for Portmore. The Sun City boys finally got a monkey off their back with a win against Vere, snapping an 8-game winless run. Now they just have to build some momentum to make sure they remain a top 6 team at the end of the season. Squad strength will be much improved after the arrival of some new big name players, but don't expect Coach Rule of Austin to shun his impressive youngsters as their energy is key to how he wants to play. As for their head-to-head record, Harbour View has not been victorious in this encounter for 9 games, so they will have their work cut out for them when Portmore hosts Harbour View this Sunday at 3 p.m. Tivoli Gardens versus Dumbo Holding. The good news for Harbour View, they are only 2 points away from safety. Dumbo Holding currently sits in 12th position and too close to relegation for comfort. What makes matter worse is that they will be searching for their 3rd head coach this season after Byron Thomas and assistant coach Christopher Harvey tendered their resignation this past week. Rumor has it that former head coach Harold Thomas has already taken over, but whoever is in charge has massive work on their hands to snap them out of their 7-game winless run. That task multiplies this weekend as they head to what should be a party atmosphere in Tivoli as football finally returns to the Edward Seaga Sports Complex. It's been some years since Tivoli got to play a home match at the famous venue, and surely we'll be looking to win big to make the day grand. There's still no word if main attacker Anthony Nelson is back, but Lennox Russell did an admirable job at the number 9 position last time out. But history might work against them as they have failed to beat Dumo in a whopping 8 matches. We will see if they can break the hoodoo this Sunday when Tivoli Gardens host Dumo at 3 p.m. Vere versus Waterhouse. Look, it's way too early to lose faith in this Waterhouse team, but all is not well in Jerusalem. The team is currently winless in 4 games, and despite having water in the name, they have looked anything but fluid in their play. But I still believe the squad is one of the best on paper, and they just have to figure it out sooner rather than later, or they will find themselves out of the top 6. Vere, on the other hand, is a more difficult story. Look, I acknowledge that no team will look buttery smooth with a sudden tsunami of new faces and talent, but there's no excuse for the total lack of effort they've been displaying lately. It is as if the players are distracted with the European dreams and not focused on their JPL nightmare. Butler is many things, but he is a proud man, and I'll be shocked if they continue to play like this. Now, if all of that is enough to overcome their shortcomings is another story, and we will have to wait and see, starting with Waterhouse. A Bygrave double was enough for Waterhouse to get the victory last time these two teams faced each other, so we will see if the Phoenix get their revenge when Vere hosts Waterhouse this Sunday at 3 p.m. Malines versus Montego Bay United. Did Arnett show the blueprint on how to defeat Montego Bay? Kinda, as a tactic in the second half to drop the backline deep, denying space behind and daring them to break it down, worked a charm and frustrated them into submission. Of course, missing Chanel Thomas and losing Brian Brown early didn't help, but Mobe had always faced some difficulty against such tactics. No, I do not believe Malines will play like that. Well, I hope not. I hope they will learn their lesson from that 4-0 thrashing against Mount Pleasant, where they played fairly defensive and paid the price. Jermaine Thomas' team is just not set up like that, and it's best they stick to their way of playing. McGregor may have missed fire last week, but he still got himself in numerous goal-scoring chances, and this Mobile team will give you those chances. But they definitely need to avoid a result like the one they received back in October when a Chanel Thomas brace led Mobile to a 4-0 drubbing. We will see how improved this Malines team really is when Malines hosts Montego Bay this Monday at 5 p.m. Cavalier versus Racing United. Cavalier finally got themselves a clean sheet against Dumo, but some would say it was made easy playing against 10 men. But they largely controlled that game and honestly looked like they were just picking their moment to step up the tempo and find their goals. Dwayne Atkinson is clearly the X factor in this team, and clearly he's looking to make up for lost time. But they do face one of the few teams to not only beat them this season, but to also stop them from scoring. Racing gave Mount Pleasant a good scare last week, but they needed a red card and a spirited second half to do so. They have a habit of raising their performance against the big boys, but they also have a bad habit of starting matches too slowly. They can't afford to let Cavalier get ahead this time and wait for the heroic comeback, so I'm hoping they smartly take the game to Cavalier. Or they may try quote-unquote negative football that frustrated Speed and Cavalier the last time these two played. But either way, it should be a fun one when Cavalier hosts Racing United this Monday at the Anthony Spalding Complex. Okay, so that's it for match week 18, but before the predictions, here's a look at some local news. Thanks to the continued excellent work of my colleague, Bomb Sports TV, we have some more confirmed transfer news. Portmore United made an attacking signing in the transfer window as they acquired 2-time Jamaica Premier League winner, 23-year-old winger Ronaldo Robinson from Harbour FC on a permanent transfer. 31-year-old defender Kevin Graham joins Humble Lion from Mount Pleasant Football Academy on a season loan. Shandy James has left Mount Pleasant Football Academy and joined Portmore United on a permanent transfer for an undisclosed fee. Malines United has acquired 28-year-old Sojay Graham from Vere Phoenix United. 7-time Jamaica Premier League champions Portmore United make another attacking addition to their roster as they acquired former Reggae boy midfielder 29-year-old Cardell Benbow from the Costa Rican First Division. Portmore have also added Orlando Russell from Cavalier on a permanent transfer. And finally, Harbour brought back former attackers Colorado Murray and Trayvon Reed to the club from stints overseas. Now moving on to the national colours, the Reggae boys will face Trinidad and Tobago in 2 friendly internationals on home soil on February 6th and February 9th. The game on the 6th will be played in Montego Bay at Catherine Hall, while the game on the 9th will play at the Anthony Spalding Complex in Kingston. This will most likely be a team comprising of the JPL's best, but the squad also may include 1 and 2 surprises from overseas. Tickets are now available for purchase, and I provided the link in the description below. Alright, that's it for the news. Now the time for this week's poll. I asked you guys, should Waterhouse consider a new coach if they fail to make the playoffs this season? And a majority of you guys said yes. Look, I am not advocating for anyone to lose their job, of course, but the word on the streets in Jerusalem is that a lot of the diehard fans are becoming frustrated with Marcel Gale. Not that they don't believe he is a good coach, but they do believe that he's been there for a while and has failed to bring them a title so far. So of course, they would not accept if they fail to make the playoffs at all. While there are even a few of them who say to fire him right now. All I would say is that this is definitely a very talented squad and it simply has to do better come this season. Alright, now for the fun part, time for the predictions. Mount Pleasant versus Arnett. Now this is of course first versus second. Mount Pleasant is one of the best goal scorers, but Arnett has the meanest defense. And when you bring in the fact that both teams of course play again in the midweek, I'm going to take the safe route and say Mount Pleasant 1, Arnett 1. Humber Lion versus Chapan Maroon. Humber Lion made some attacking purchases, but do they come in time to make a difference? I am not too sure. So I'm going to say Humber Lion 0, Chapan Maroons 1. Portmore United versus Harbour View. I'm thinking this is going to be very easy to call. Portmore 2, Harbour View 1. Tivoli Gardens versus Dumo Holding. Tivoli has no strikers. Lennox Russell did a decent job, so a lot of work will be on the wingers. But Dumo Holding are in free fall, so I'm going to say Tivoli 2, Dumo Holding 0. Vere versus Waterhouse. The very hard call again. Both teams are not at their best, but you believe Waterhouse squad is just that good. I expect them to somehow find a way. A 1-0 win in Clarendon. Montego versus Montego Bay. Alright, Montego is definitely going to score, but I think Montego have too much firepower, even though that they will be missing Shadil Thomas and Brian Brown. I'm going to say it's Montego Bay 2, Montego United 1. Cavalier versus Racing. Not an easy game, but I think with everybody back, including Atkinson, Cavalier should be ready to take revenge. I see they winning this one, 2-1 as well over Racing. But alright guys, that's all I got here on this match week 18 preview. Let me know in the comment section below your predictions for this match week. Also remember to like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you all up to date on everything JPL leading up to the final in May. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place, JPL fan. YouTube, big up yourself.